I've got some really crappy cameras here. The camera in my old Acer tablet and my Nintendo 2DS are terrible. But you know what? They're not bad enough. What I want is one of the worst digital cameras I can get my hands on. I want a Game Boy camera. So the Game Boy camera came out in Japan in February of 1998 and in North America in June of 1998. In Japan, it was called the Nintendo Pocket Camera. Just for context, the Game Boy Color came out in Japan in October of 1998 and in North America, November 1998. You got to remember, in 1998, digital cameras were still pretty rare. Sony had the Mavica line, those ones that saved to 3.5-inch floppy disks. But those things started at $600 and went up to about $1,000, depending on the model. Some of them had optical zoom, some of them didn't. So really, we're comparing this more to something like the Barbie digital camera, and that actually came out also in late 1998, September of 1998, and that cost $70, and it didn't have a screen on it. It had internal memory, could only store a few photos to it at a time, and then you had to hook up I think it was the 9-pin serial connector to transfer the photos off. Obviously, they were in color, so that's a bit of an advantage. In early 1998, as far as a kid being able to get their hands on a digital camera, this was really it. Of course, the printer released alongside with this thing. The printer sold for $60, so the camera sold for $50, the printer sold for $60. The printer is a thermal type, relying on special paper that can react to the heat. So on the plus side, it doesn't need ink. There's no ink or toner or anything like that. You just need special paper for it. It takes 6 AA batteries, and it wasn't just compatible with the camera, it was also compatible with actually a fair amount of games. So to find my Game Boy camera, I headed on to Facebook Marketplace, found one in the box, and I offered this guy $50 for it, but I never heard back from him. I found a few more that were $30, just loose, but both of those were like a 3-hour drive, and so, 6 hours both ways. I gotta think of the time and the gas that I'm gonna spend doing that. So I went over to eBay, found one for $45 shipped, free shipping, so ended up going with that. All right, here it is. I had to go to the post office and pick it up because they tried to deliver it while I was at work. I'm so excited to get this thing out and try it. Before we go out with it and take pictures, we're going to want to make sure that this thing actually saves the pictures to the cartridge. This one has a battery backup in it, and if the battery's dead, you're not going to be able to save the pictures. So obviously we can change the battery if we have to, but in this case we didn't. It looks like the battery's still good. It is saving pictures. So this thing is as bad as you would expect. The Game Boy resolution is I think 160 by 144 pixels. The camera only saves the photos 128 by 112. So the photos don't even fill up the whole screen of the Game Boy. They're not even matching the resolution of the Game Boy. And as you would expect, this is the original Game Boy. Again, this came out before the Game Boy Color. So we're looking at 4 shades, or 4 different colors, if you will, 4 shades of gray realistically. So it's basically like black and white, 4 shades, and 128 pixels by 112 pixels. Yeah, it's bad. It's very bad. But again, in 1998, early 1998, there wasn't really any other digital cameras that a kid could get their hands on for this price. This thing can save 30 images into its battery backed up RAM. And it's not just a camera app. There is some games. There's this ball, like the old Nintendo Game & Watch LCD juggling game. And there's also this DJ thing where you can make music, but I wasn't able to figure out that. If only there was a way to get the photos out of this thing. Wait a minute, there kind of is. The Super Game Boy. That's right. This thing works with the Super Game Boy. And if you've got your Super Nintendo hooked up to any kind of capture, back in the day, if you were a kid, maybe you hooked your Super Nintendo up to a VCR, and you could record this to VHS tapes. But now, of course, we've got like capture devices. I've got a S-video to HDMI sort of thing going on here and do an HDMI capture. And so, yeah, I can sort of capture and get these photos out. Of course, they're not going to look any better, but hey, we got them saved. Well, anyways, that's the Game Boy camera. It's bad. It's as bad as you remember. It's as bad as you would imagine a camera being on an original Game Boy. It's probably worse because, again, it's not even using the full resolution of the Game Boy screen. But it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to go out with this thing and take pictures. And some of them turned out better than I thought. The picture of my car, I was actually surprised you can see the whole car's, white body with a little bit of shading on the front bumper. Some of these other ones, though, you can barely tell what you're looking at. I tried to take some pictures of my cat. It was pretty bad. This was about as good as I could get. And some flowers. Not looking great. Might look good if I try to edit that one and add color to it, though. Anyways, the Game Boy camera. It's kind of fun. It's kind of, out of all the gimmicky little add-ons for the original Game Boy, I think this is the one to get if you're into modding and collecting Game Boys and you're looking for something, just a little fun add-on, a little, again, neat part of the history. Looking at this from early 1998 again, it made sense at that time. But man, did digital cameras ever get cheap in the late 90s, early 2000s. And this thing became obsolete pretty quickly. But again, for its time, it's basically the first digital camera that a kid would have been able to get their hands on. There you go. The Game Boy camera. I say grab one. If you're a Game Boy collector, it's one of the cool accessories to have for it, for sure.